Hello, everybody. How's everyone doing today? I'm excited about this live. I'm trying to see, once again, if I can share it. Today, I want to discuss the common mistakes that a lot of us are making in our day-to-day diets and the decisions that we're making. And listen, I apologize about the hair. I just got out of the shower. It's in that weird, like, frizzy, half wet, half dry phase. Y'all are just gonna have to deal. Okay, so let's just get into it. I think the first mistake that I need to touch on, and I know this is like beating a dead horse, everybody's heard this, right? But we need to talk about it, and that is the fact that we're not getting enough water in our diet. So one of my goals for 2019 was to actually start my day, the very first thing when I get up is to drink a full glass of water. And that has actually set my, the beginning of my day. It's kind of set the course for the day. I really do believe that because I tend to go right into coffee. I'm a coffee, addict. I use that word gently, but could be true. So yeah, I would always go right into my coffee, but now that I'm actually allowing my body to sort of detox with the water, and it also helps to fill you up a little bit, and that goes like throughout the day. I mean, first thing in the morning obviously is great. Start your day off with a big glass of water, but throughout the day, stay consistent with your water intake, and that's going to help to flush out, toxins. It's going to help to keep you satiated and full in between meals, and just feeling better overall. Number two, I think that a lot of us tend to do, and this is also a big reason why diets in general just fail. I mean, just fail, because diet kind of equates to deprivation. Just think about some of the diets that you've been on. I mean, I'm a self-proclaimed fad diet junkie. I mean, you name a fad diet, back in the late 90s or early 2000s, like I've been on it. I've done it. But it all comes down to a list of things that you can no longer have, right? And let's just think about, maybe you don't think you're necessarily putting yourself on a diet, but you tell yourself, starting Monday, no sugar for that week. I'm not going to eat sugar all week. Well, it's too much. You're setting the bar a little too high. And granted, you may go into it like gung-ho, but after day 3, day 4, day 5, heck, maybe you even get into a week of it, that nasty sugar craving. Again, I'm speaking from a sugar addict from experience. It's going to rear its ugly head. You're going to be in a vulnerable state, whether it's, the kids did something, or you're just tired, you're cranky, you're stressed, whatever the case may be. And if it's there, you're going to grab it and you're going to eat it. So instead of using this mentality of sort of it's all or nothing, I'd like you to approach it more in like a rule of one. Okay, think about it, just one goal for yourself, no matter how small it is. Maybe instead of saying, sorry, my hair is driving me crazy. Maybe instead of saying like no sugar forever for the rest of your life, or no sugar for the rest of the week, maybe telling yourself, I'm not going to eat, sugary snacks after, say, 6 o'clock. And I think you'll notice, at least most people I find anyway, is when you give yourself a goal that's actually achievable and you hit that goal, it kind of has this sort of domino effect, this snowball effect, where then you're like, okay, well, then the next week, not only am I not going to eat sugar after 6 o'clock, but I'm going to dial it back to just 2 sodas a day, as opposed to the 6 maybe that you're normally drinking. I hope that's not you, but whatever it is, set realistic goals for yourself. And even going into it saying, that it's a realistic goal, I'm going to achieve this, like you may think that it's going to be too easy. No, give yourself that small win, and you will notice it will sort of, again, have that domino effect where it's going to roll into the next week, and you're going to be able to set a new goal. You're going to be able to set a new goal. But think of it in like the rule of ones. Like I said, just give yourself one goal for the week, or maybe just per day. If you're one of those people that can just knock it out, awesome for you, but give yourself one goal a day, and then continue with that and add another one to the next day, and so on and so forth. And then the biggest one that I wanted to touch on today is that we are not nourishing our gut You've heard me use the word maybe before, our gut biome or gut flora. Again, it's a fancy word for just sort of the good bacteria and what's going on in your gut. And when scientists, and I mean, there's so many studies now that are finding that it actually has even, they're calling it your second brain. In other words, it plays such a huge role in our health and our fitness and our mind capacity and, our clarity of mind, all this stuff. Your gut, you need to nurture it. And I really hope that you hear me when I say this. So when we eat, we're not aware, we're not thinking about what we eat as it affects our gut. So what do I mean when I say that? Well, first of all, most of you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for some sort of inflammatory disease. Let it be celiac, let it be IC, let it be IBS, fibromyalgia, Hashimoto's, whatever it is. I know many of you women out there are suffering from this because you've said it in the group, and my heart goes out to you. I mean, my daughter, type 1 diabetes, celiac. So, I understand how terrible it is living with, an inflammatory disease, and it's wreaking havoc on your body. So what does that mean? Like, and it can be so overwhelming and so confusing when we talk about the things that we actually should be putting into our bodies to repair this damage, because I do believe it can be repaired. Hi, Rachel, how are you? Great, I'm so glad that you're here. So what do we need to, maybe first of all, using that rule of 1 that I just talked about, slowly start to take out of our diet so that we can start to repair our gut biome, that good bacteria in our gut that is going to then start to decrease this inflammation that is going on inside our bodies. So again, a lot of this is going to be stuff that you already know, but I want you to think about it in terms of how you use this on the daily. So inflammatory foods, dairy. A lot of people in the group are both gluten-free and non-dairy, and that makes sense because dairy is a huge contributor to inflammation in your body. So think about your dairy intake. Sugar is a no-brainer, right? But a lot of us don't think of, I mean, when we think about sugar, we think about the white processed stuff that's in, the Twinkies, or, we're not thinking about the refined sugar that they're putting in bottled salad dressings and bottled tomato sauces and, crackers, cereal. So it's everywhere. In fact, there's a stat, it's over, I think it's about 75% of all the foods in grocery stores right now have hidden sugars in it. It blows my mind. But so our intake of sugar can be so much greater than you think if you're not consciously being aware of that. My family and I did a Whole30. I don't know if any of you are familiar. We did it for a few months, and in that it's very strict. You cut out all sugar, even you can have the natural sugar in fruits, but no agave, no stevia, nothing like that. And when you actually start reading labels, you realize how much sugar is out there. It was very eye-opening to me, even considering, like, at that time, I still considered that we eat very clean, very whole, but it's pretty staggering, So anyway, I digress. So sugar we talked about, dairy, processed meats. Now, I know this can be touch and go for a lot of people. Now, I eat a predominantly plant-based diet. Does that mean I never have meat or dairy or eggs? Absolutely not. But I try to eat as much whole foods as possible because I truly believe that that is the best way to get the nutrients that our body needs in order to function. Not to mention fiber, which we'll get into in a moment. But so processed meats and fatty red meats in particular, these all have processed meats carcinogenic, where it's been proven to cause cancer. So unfortunately, I'm talking about the lunch meats that we feed our kids. I mean, when my daughter, when we first started down this journey of healthy eating, and as a diabetic, when she would be starving and I didn't want to give her any carbs because her blood sugar was high. I mean, salami was like her favorite treat, salami and cheese sticks. I mean, I gave that to her all the time. And again, and not being condescending, but in my journey, like, it's just the process. Like, I found out all this information as I was moving along and realized how bad that stuff was for her, especially, over time, the amount that she was consuming that we drastically dialed back to the fact where I wasn't giving it to her at all. She gets it every once in a while now, but that stuff causes inflammation in the body. Your body has an inflammatory response when you consume it. And so, yeah, something to keep in mind. Saturated fat is also in there. So again, we're talking about a lot of processed foods, a lot of fried foods. We're talking about food additives. Again, that's got, processed foods. If you look at the label, and this is where I often preach, I don't know if that's the right word, but I often talk about breaking out of the gluten-free box, because so many of us, and again, myself included in this, when we get the diagnosis, we automatically just want to switch to our boxed gluten-free goods, right? We want our old favorites. So we go for the gluten-free pizza. We go for the gluten-free bread, the gluten-free crackers, the gluten-free cookies, which I get and I understand, but you have to keep in mind that not only is processed food bad for us, which I think we all hopefully understand that, but with gluten-free food, when they're taking the gluten out of those boxed goods, what they need to put back in there to actually make it palatable is more often than not more sugar and more fat and more salt. So with the gluten-free boxed goods, you're honestly usually getting even a worse product ingested in your body than you would if you were eating the gluten counterpart. So again, it causing an inflammatory response. It's not giving the gut what it needs. It's not allowing our bodies to heal properly and keep that inflammation at bay. In fact, it's doing just the opposite. We're feeding it. We're feeding it. We're feeding that inflammation and causing a lot of times for our symptoms to get worse, and certainly not allowing our body to heal as fast as it could. Gluten obviously is a no-brainer. Gluten's in a lot of things like white bread, cereals, that stuff. And I know most of you are, avoiding that for either health reasons or just, for this sort of reason, because you know that it causes a bad response in your body. Alcohol is one. Alcohol in excess, you want to be careful. It's extremely inflammatory for your body. So all these things I want you to keep in mind, because it's, Rachel, I see you. That's okay, Stacy. Yes, you can watch the replay. But so keep that in mind. Of course, what we want to do is we want to feed our body foods that are going to fight this inflammation. So again, don't look at this as all or nothing, because that's setting yourself up for failure. You're going to do it by the rule of one. Okay, well, I know that, this stuff is causing inflammation in my body. What can I do to maybe decrease, what I'm intaking during my day? And then what can I add to it to actually fight that inflammation, that can actually feed the gut what it needs to create that good bacteria to help, combat that inflammation that's going on inside so many of us. So things like, and these may, be no-brainers here, but dark leafy greens, as much as you can get in your day. And I know it's hard especially for kids. And if you haven't seen my videos about how to get your kids to eat your vegetables, please check it out. Just Google or do a search within the group of, something about kids and veggies. Hopefully that'll pop up. I've got some super great ideas if you think your kids are picky eaters of how to get them to actually eat their vegetables. And I've heard so many, success stories with parents. So please check that out. But smoothies are a great one. Smoothie popsicles, frozen popsicles. You just want to throw the leafy greens in a blender, blend it up. And I'm talking about you adults too, because not all of us are eating as many salads as we need and as many greens. Get them into your smoothies, put them in your soups this time of year is great, because I know smoothies are a little cold. It's like the Arctic outside right now, but make sure to get your greens. Basically, to be whole food, plant-based. You want to get your legumes, you want to get your plants, your fruits, your veggies. All of that stuff is going to help to fight the inflammation and the bacteria that is causing all of the, believe it or not, inflammatory diseases are our top killers today. I just want you to let that resonate. Things like cancer, things like type 2 diabetes, coronary heart disease, all these things that are killing so many of us and are causing so much pain in so many of us today. It's caused by inflammation in the body, something that I believe that we can radically affect with our diet. So I hope this was a little helpful. I hope it was a little eye-opening to all of you. Listen, this is what I do for a living. If you need help in this area, if you need to be maybe held accountable or someone to kind of walk with you in this process and go through the steps with you, and whatever the case may be, please reach out to me. I would love to talk to you. And just know that I'm here to support you. I'm here to give you some healthy, delicious recipes that are going to be plant-based dominant, are going to be dairy-free, and are going to be gluten-free. So hopefully we'll be filling your body with a ton of good fiber and a ton of good nutrients that are going to get that inflammation down. And it's up to you to do the other work to start to slowly wean off some of that other stuff that is causing the problems. So I wish you guys a great rest of your week, and I will be talking to you all soon. Thanks.